A lot of people wondered why the Swaxe guide on Wiggler wasn't updated for Tier 2. The reason for that is that there were no updates. My Title Update 2 recap will follow, where I'll go over why exactly that is. But for us specifically, the sets just didn't do anything, leading to the dominant Tier 1 set still being the dominant Tier 2 set. RNG Charms basically gave us two options, which is really just the same option twice, depending on whether you cheat your charms or win the lottery, or not. The lottery winner variant is 3-piece AT Ray and 2-piece Zoe, and requires a rarity 8 charm with attack boost 3 and either burst or agitator 1. The more accessible variant is 3-piece AT Ray, Zoe helmet and Jin Beta feet, which requires a rarity 5 charm with a 3 slot and Counter-Strike 2, or Max Might 1 and Counter-Strike 1. Ideally, you'd roll attack boost 1 on it, but it doesn't really move the needle. The lottery charm has an about 2 in 192,000 chance to roll if you don't care about 1 slots, or 2 in 576,000 if you do. Whereas the AB1 version of the budget set sits at 1 in 135,458 for Counter-Strike 2 and 1 in 2,031,864 for Counter-Strike 1 Max Might 1. Without attack boost, the chances are 1 in 54,915 for the double skill and 1 in 3,661 for Counter-Strike 2. These chances were determined with the calculator in the description provided by Kat, and I'd recommend Damo's video on Charms too. The budget set, as you notice, has a 3 slot compared to the original 3-piece AT Ray set, which wants to fit one of 2 skills predominantly, Flare 1 or Adrenaline Rush 1. Flare is mostly used for the Pseudo Blast, which can deal about 0.8 to 1.4% of a monster's HP pool throughout the hunt, while Ad Rush 1 provides 10 raw while active. When playtesting this set, I did 32 hunts, 4 each on the relevant 9-5 monsters except Lagiacrus, and documented the uptime and impact of each skill. On average, for 36,889.5 damage dealt, Flare contributed for 403, which averages 1.1% of target monster's HP. It took me 615.75 seconds to clear with an average of 61.5 DPS. Agitator was active for 63.25% of the time, Counter-Strike for 81.25% of the time, Max Might for 81%, Latent Power for 64.5%, Guts for 87.75% of the time, although I'm an idiot and forgot to track this one so I eyeballed it, and Adrenaline Rush for about 13.75% of the time. Ad Rush's poor performance can be attributed to my lack of experience with the skill and playstyle, with Seregios being a notable matchup in its favor, where it hit 54.8 and 48.2% respectively, despite the unfamiliarity. I also learned that I accidentally tracked my wax accuracy, but only noticed that about 6 hunts in. Over the course of 26 of these hunts I had an average accuracy of 71%. Just as a reminder, Wax does not activate when you see yellow numbers, but only when you hit a hit zone with a hit zone value of 45 and above. Yellow and white numbers are determined by hit zone value times sharpness modifier, meaning a hit zone of 40 can still produce yellow numbers despite never activating Wax. Despite the 2 sets I showcased earlier being the de facto numerically best sets with these uptimes, I've seen enough people ask about the laggy sets. I maintain that it is not a great choice for Switch Axe, but there is a set specifically for comfort skill enjoyers that'll maybe scratch the itch. This situationship was presented to me by Kookaburra. After running the numbers, and I've run them a lot, it performs about as well as the other sets, granting us an illusion of choice meta, assuming modded charms and a lottery grind if you don't. While requiring a lottery or modded charm, it boasts 7 empty 1 slots. If you are part of the majority that will likely never see these charms, you can stick to 3-piece AT Ray. Don't look at me like that. This is not a consolidation prize. What I've not yet told you about is the insane and unsurmountable extra damage you get for these insanely rare charms. The Flayer variation will slay the average 9-5 monster in 25.8 full release loops. The Lagiacrus set, which I lovingly labeled Cook's Concoction in my notes, takes 26 full release loops, while the Why Are The Guides Not Updated TU1 3-piece AT race set needs on average 26.2. You win the lottery to save maybe 2 file ticks. The weapons all 3 of these sets are meant to be played with are the classic status Archon, preferably Paralysis, although Blast and Sleep have applications too if you can be bothered. Sleep in particular might be interesting for the inevitable Arch-Tempered Squid. Lagiacrus on Ufduna, Seregios and Mizutsune, and funnily enough on Gore, if all you ever hit is the head. Or Zoshia, which wins almost every matchup on virtue of White Flame Torrent, but has to find full release windows where Para, Sleep or Blast Archon don't have to. The next question I seek to answer is about element sets and files in a future video. For the time being, you'll have to trust me when I say that Raw is still numerically superior and that the answer is interesting in the worst possible way. Finding this out is the reason I haven't been uploading or live all that much recently. Or you don't trust me blindly and check my calculator in the description, where you can also find all the numbers I mentioned in this video.
One more thing.
Remember when I asked for decoration suggestions for the studio? Because this studio tent is otherwise pretty bland, I have opted to bring some decoration. If you have suggestions for decorations, please put them in the comments. I will put them on a spinny wheel and spin every once in a while, probably on a live stream, and add whatever gets randomly selected. Pepperidge Farm remembers, the wheel was spun.
Alright. Let's do that.
And I'd like to congratulate Wisty, who suggested
One more thing.
the written guide on the Swaxe Meta, linked in the description, has also been updated and contains a little bit more information. Lastly, this guy has asked me for a shoutout for, and I quote, "no reason at all." Despite warning them about being associated with me in case my scandalous past behavior is dug up, they insisted. Shoutout to this guy for no reason at all.